All right, find the requested value, number 48. So find f of negative 2 for the function f of x equals, and then we have a piecewise function, don't we? So we have f of x equals 7x if x is less than or equal to negative 1, and we have f of x equals x minus 4 if x is greater than negative 1. So we're only going to be using one piece of this function to find the requested value, and that piece that we use is determined based on the domain restriction, right? Because this part of the function exists only when x is less than or equal to negative 1, and this part of the function only exists when x is greater than negative 1. So let's go ahead, return back here to see what they want us to evaluate. Well, they want us to find f of negative 2. So based on this negative 2, we have to determine which piece of the function are we going to use to evaluate. Well, negative 2, let's see. Is negative 2 greater than negative 1? No, it's smaller than negative 1, right? So we can go ahead and eliminate this piece of the function. We are not going to use this piece to evaluate because we're trying to find f of negative 2, but this piece is only used when x is greater than negative 1. We can see here that we use this piece of the function, 7x, if x is less than or equal to negative 1. Well, negative 2 is less than or equal to negative 1, so this is the winner. This is the part of the function, the piece of the function that we're going to use to evaluate. All right, so we want to find f of negative 2, and that will be 7 times negative 2. Well, what is 7 times negative 2? Well, that's just simply negative 14, isn't it? And so we have found the requested value, negative 14, based on our piecewise function. So we found f of negative 2 because negative 2 is less than or equal to negative 1. This is the piece of the function we are using to find the requested value. Let's say, just for example, that instead of negative 2 here, they wanted us to find f of, I don't know, how about 5? Well, because 5 is greater than negative 1, right? 5 is greater than negative 1, then we would eliminate, this part of the piecewise function, and we would use this part to evaluate, right? So we would say f of negative 5 equals 5 minus 4, which is equal to simply 5 minus 4, which is equal to 1. All right, so you have to look to see what they're asking you to plug in, and based on what they're asking you to plug in, you will choose some piece of the piecewise function, plug it in, and evaluate just like we would any other time. But for number 48, they wanted us to find f of negative 2, which means we're using this first piece here. We plug it in for x and evaluate, and we end at negative 14.